Welcome to the Law of Attraction Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Keith. If you're looking to manifest a life you don't need a vacation from, then you came to the right place. I quit my 9-to-5 job to stay home with my kids while building a thriving business. Now, as a best-selling author, app creator, and 3 times podcaster, I am here to teach you how to do the same. If you want to join my inner tribe, head over to the Manifest It Now app. And now let's dive in to the podcast where I'm going to give you my best manifestation hacks and tips so that you can manifest a life full of abundance, freedom, and fulfillment. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. So let's just get into it. I came across a TikTok from this healer and bioenergy expert that founded the Abrahamson Institute, and his name is Ehud Abrahamson. And it blew me away because he was able to talk about the unseen, the energy, our aura, basically everything that is involved in manifestation in our universe, but put it in a way that just blew my mind. So I want to share like the overall concept, and hopefully this will kind of like connect the dots of, how everything works energetically to create our reality, and how we're very influenced in how we think and how we feel based on outside energy. So he's talking about how every human being has an aura, right? We've all heard that before. And this aura is this kind of like this hypothetical thing, right? It's like you can't see it, but I believe it's very real, and something that you can play with today just to kind of test it out is go and stand super close to someone. And there becomes a point where even if your eyes are closed and you have your back turned to them, you will still feel their presence. And not only that, but even if your eyes are closed, you can sense that presence. You kind of know, is this person angry? Are they joyful? Are they stressed? Think about if you've ever walked in a room and before anyone even opens their mouth or says anything, you can feel the energy in the room. So that's kind of how I look at it. And obviously it feels very energetically uncomfortable when someone gets too close to you. And I think that's because it's messing with your aura. So what he talks about is how the aura is made up of ions, which are super tiny little bits of energy, which we already know that everything is made up of energy in this world. And what he was saying was things that interact with these ions are messing with your aura one way or the other. Okay, it all makes an impression on your aura, which then makes an impression on how you feel. So emotions and thoughts, for example, we know that even though we can't physically see them, they put out a certain energy, they put out a certain frequency. And the way that we know that is they have labs and equipment that can measure brainwaves and can measure what's happening when a person is angry, when a person is happy. So we know that it's putting out this frequency, this energy. The mind-bending part about this that just made everything click for me was he was talking about emotion, and he spelled out the word emotion, emote, ion. So your emotion is giving a certain frequency. It's projecting onto your aura, right? So if your emotion is anger, that is going to give a very different projection than if your emotion or emote ion is joy, right? Your thoughts. Think of the word imagination. Spell it out. Imagine ion. Imagine an ion, right? So again, your thoughts are projecting onto the ions around you. So everything is carrying a frequency, and it is all playing in to your reality, how you perceive it, how others perceive it and react to you. And it creates this reality that we're in. Okay. So what happens is there's so many things going on in our world. And as time goes on, there's more and more distractions every day. I mean, you think about with like smartphones, there's distractions 24/7. We're receiving a lot of data from everything and everyone around us. And what does that do? It makes an impression. Now, spell out the word impression. Impress, ion. So it's this outside energy that's impressing on your ions, on your aura. And what happens when you keep pushing on something and pushing on something and pushing on something from the outside, it starts to depress inward. And then you get depress ions, depression. And when you look at the stats of how many people are on antidepressants in the world right now, it's damn near everyone that is battling this a lot. And why is that? Well, perhaps it's because we have all of this information all the time impressing on our ions. And then over time that builds and there starts to become a depression. Okay, so let's talk about how we shift this, how we recharge our aura and deal with that depression. So if something is pressed in, it's depressed in, you need to push it back out, right? So obviously, if you're pushing, that has to come from within. Okay, so expression, spell it out, express ion. As you express yourself through expression, you're pushing that depression back out. So you're creating this energy back in, you're pushing the depression back out, and you're restoring balance in your aura. So expression, what is that? It's expressing yourself authentically. And this is another big one. We are in a world full of fakeness, right? It's like we're all acting in order to fit in and be liked and, go along with things. We're afraid to speak our mind. We're afraid to share what's like truly on our hearts and be vulnerable. And so when we never express those things, that depression stays. And the only way to start moving through that is to express what's truly in your heart, what you truly love to do, what's truly on your mind. And as you start doing that, you build that energy within and you start to feel less depressed and more at peace, maybe even joyful. But so many of us are so conditioned to not express ourselves. So I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but think about when you were a kid in school, how you were conditioned to no longer express yourself, right? There comes a time, middle school, high school, where you're taught to focus on your studies, on math, science, reading for your SATs and ACTs, and to not give a lot of importance to expressing yourself, whether that's through music or whether that's through art or some other form of creative expression and individuality, right? We're taught to conform, and we're taught that if we don't, then we get bullied. We want to blend in, we want to fit in so we don't get bullied, right? And so we're taught at a very young age to really hide this genuine, important piece of being a human being, which is expressing ourselves, expressing our individuality, expressing our creativity, expressing our authenticity. And then that's reinforced, and especially now with social media, because you don't want people to make a negative comment and judge you, right? So you keep hiding, keep blending and burying that thing that should really be expressed. And then it's no wonder you're feeling lost, depressed, out of alignment with your purpose. because you've never learned to express the real you, the real thing, the real gifts that are within you. But it's never too late to start, right? It's never too late to start doing those things. So, you can think about, what did I enjoy doing before the world told me that it wasn't okay to do that? What do I enjoy doing now? What are the things that light me up? The things that make me forget about what time it is or how many errands I have to run, that you could just fully immerse yourself in and just start playing with that. Like, allow your imagination and your creativity to come out. Give yourself some space to do that. And when you can get in that space of expressing yourself, that is like a great mindfulness practice. It's a great way to sort of expel the things that are impressing on you from the outside world and to light up what's inside of you. When you're busy expressing yourself and you're immersed in doing what you love, it quiets the mind. It quiets all of those intrusive thoughts. It quiets the depression and anxiety, because you're immersed in something that truly lights you up from within, and it starts to repair what's depressed. So that's one thing. Another thing is looking at the physical aspect of your body and how your body and energy and all of this works hand in hand, because at the end of the day, our body is what? It's energy. It's a bunch of tiny particles that are dense, or that appear to be dense and create matter. But all it is energy. Okay, so there are energy, like ionic stealers that like steal the energy away from you and disrupt this balance. And then there's things that contribute to it. Okay, so they've done all different kinds of experiments and studies with this. The one that's most popular that I'm sure you've heard about and that I really, really suggest you research, because once you start to understand the science behind it, it's a game changer. And there are a lot of scientists throughout the world that are working on this in a lab and showing how much of a difference it can make. But that first thing is grounding. So grounding is something that gives you, it recharges your ions, it recharges your aura. So what happens is when you go barefoot, when you take off the rubber soles of your shoes, because the rubber stops the electricity, right? It stops the energy. And we don't want that. The more you can ground, the more you can be barefoot outside, the better, because the moment that you step on the earth, whether it's on grass or dirt, anything outside, it's called grounding, because when you think about electricity, in order for it to work, it has to be grounded, right? You have to ground electricity. Well, we are an electrical system, yet we're never grounded because the rubber at our soles stops it from truly being grounded. So they've measured it, and the moment that you step on the grass barefoot, you recharge. And it happens so quickly, they can't even measure the time of how quickly it happens. It's like instantaneous that we recharge. Okay, so grounding, that is number one. You can ground. They even have like grounding mats and stuff, although I think some of that, like, I don't really fully trust it. I think some of it's just, more in our mind, but you can just simply, like, every morning go outside. If you take your dog outside, step outside with them in the grass. Now that brings me to number two is pets, animals. There's a reason why they use animals as therapy dogs, and especially using them in like nursing homes where people are bedridden and a lot of times fall into depression. So they bring in dogs because dogs, what do? They run around outside. And they don't have shoes on. They're constantly grounding. And so they're absorbing all of this energy. They're charging up. They're like this powerful battery. And then they come, and what do? They sit on your lap. They rub up against you. You're petting them. And so they're transferring that energy to you, and they're recharging your aura. And then afterwards, they go back outside to go to the bathroom and they recharge. So it's like a constant, fully charged battery, basically. So dogs are great for that. Kids as well. Kids, they've shown where like a child will sit in his mother's lap and you can see immediately the shift in the energy. And again, like what do kids do? They go outside and play. My kids are always outside barefoot running around. And that's great. Like let them get dirty, let them play in the dirt and run around barefoot. It is absolutely great for their energy and their mood and everything. And then that contributes to you as well. Some other things. So you think about the elements, earth, air, fire, and water. Water is a very powerful contributor as well. So this could be getting outside in nature, in a lake or an ocean, or even in your swimming pool. But also something you could do every day is in your shower. And so what you can do is just let the water run over your entire body from head to toe. And this guy suggested like at the end of your shower, just sitting on the shower floor for like a minute and letting the energy just run over you, and it recharges your aura. Moving water recharges your aura. So let's see what else. Air. Okay, so air actually robs you of this energy. It's an energy stealer. So if you are in a convertible driving, while it might feel really great, you're like exhausted afterwards because it's pulling those ions. It's robbing you of that energy. So that's actually an energy stealer. So that's the one element that is not going to contribute. But grounding, water, and then I think there was something about fire or warmth. Obviously that like generates energy, but you don't want to play with fire. So we'll just like forget about that one for the moment. So anyhow, all of those things are things that you can do to recharge your ions, your energy, your aura, the thing around you that is like your energetic bubble that is protecting you. And when you do that, you're repairing that depressed wall, and you're strengthening the amount of impressions that can be had, because when you're charged from the inside, like think about it as a balloon. If you're fully inflated and recharged with positive energy, it's going to be a lot less easy for the outside world to mess with that, right? They're going to have to work a lot harder than if you're completely deflated and don't have any of that energy within and are in that depressed state. So you can play around with that and, just try some of these things and pay attention to how it makes you feel. Try the grounding. Try sitting in the shower, letting the water run over you. Try, if you have a dog, like pay attention. Pay attention to how you feel before and after these things. And then absolutely start expressing yourself. And expressing yourself, it can literally be like saying what's on your mind. A lot of times we think, oh, well, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want anyone to judge me. Well, that's leading to your own detriment. That is increasing that depression on your ions. Start expressing yourself. Start sharing what's on your mind. And I think what you're going to find is instead of all these people judging you and being pissed off, I think you're going to find that you have a lot more meaningful connections and conversations. And that absolutely helps with depression. Start expressing yourself creatively. There we go. That's the right word. Use your imagination, like tap into these things that we were conditioned to believe are childish, a waste of time, because these are the things that they're like the secret ingredient that are missing from most adult lives and leading you to depression. So start experimenting with that. And again, be mindful, pay attention. How do I feel before and after? Just like when you express yourself with saying what's on your mind, do you ever notice like after, even if it's like a difficult conversation, afterwards you feel so much better because you got it out? You feel like a weight lifted off your shoulders. That's what's happening. It's building up that energy within and it's pushing out on this outside influence. And same thing when you're living in your creativity, you're using your imagination, you're expressing yourself in whatever way that is. We're all different in how we do that. But when you do it, it's recharging. It's building that energy within. It's getting rid of all those depressions throughout your aura, and it's repairing you. And it's a lot less easy for these outside influences to have an influence on you. So anyhow, I hope that this was just as insightful as I thought it was for you guys. And it's 11:11 as I'm recording this, so that's always a good sign. But thank you guys for tuning in. And another thing, in the app, in the Manifest It Now app, there's so many tools in there to help you express yourself. So like in the Inner Tribe section, we have so many workbooks filled with journal prompts that help you just discover like what is your purpose, what is your passion, what's on your mind, and it really does help you express yourself. So definitely try those types of things. And then the subliminals, like I look at the subliminals as something that recharges you. They have these really high vibrational frequencies, these healing frequencies that help to improve that energy within you, because everything is energy. It helps you to align with the energetic frequency that feels good, that's empowering, that builds you up instead of breaking you down. So if you haven't tried those things yet, go and give them a try. And once again, pay attention to how you feel before and how you feel after. And I think you're going to notice a really big difference. So I hope that helps you have an amazing week, and I'll see you back here next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want more in between these podcast episodes, you can subscribe to my Apple Podcast, Manifested It. You can find that in Apple Podcasts, and it has all of my bonus interviews, guided visualizations, subliminals, meditations, all that good stuff. Or you can download the Manifest It Now app, where I put everything, all of my interviews, tools, everything I've used to manifest a life I don't need a vacation from. You can find that wherever you get your apps, in Google Play or the Apple App Store. And you can join the Inner Tribe Manifesting community, which is inside the app as well, if you want to up level with a group of women who are there to support you, cheer you on, give you guidance, and up level your vibe. And if you love this episode, the best thing you can do to support the podcast is share it. Share it with a friend, share it on your Instagram. Make sure to tag me at Law of Attraction Tribe so I can share it back on my story as well. I love connecting with you guys and putting a face to all the listeners out there. So come connect with me over on Instagram and let's start a conversation. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next time.